Welcome to Salad with a Side of Fries. I'm your host, Jen Trepic, talking wellness and weight loss for real life. We're here to clear up the myths, misinformation, bad science, and marketing to teach you how to eat and how to cheat. Are you ready? I'm having salad with a side of fries. This week, we're talking about Fairlife protein shakes. So this one was submitted through our website by Kelly S. So shout out to Kelly. And if you've never submitted a suggestion or question or topic idea, consider this your formal invitation. You can do what Kelly did. Go to our website, asaladwithasideoffries.com, or send a DM on any social media platform. I am at Jen Trepic, JENNTREPECK. Anyway, back to Kelly and the Fairlife protein shake. So Kelly said, I'd love for you to look at Fairlife chocolate protein shakes. They're my favorite. Thanks. Love it. Short, sweet, to the point. Kelly, your request serves us all. So it was interesting because I know the brand Fairlife from their milk. I honestly did not realize that they made protein shakes. So this was super fun. As always, I went to their website. Right on top, they say high quality protein to build muscle. I'm like, okay, cool. Right? Obviously, we need a bit more information, but I'm on the same page so far. So I clicked to learn more about their approach. And I'm going to read this right from their site because it's interesting. And obviously, they're going to say it better than I could. So they say, we begin with high quality milk. We trace our milk from farm to bottle. So we work with supplying dairies that are able to deliver milk that meets our high standards. Then quick chill. Fresh milk tastes better. That's a fact. It's the reason why we take great care of our milk and quick chill it down to 37 degrees, keeping it cool all the way to your local store. That's why our milk always tastes so fresh. Then, and here's the interesting part, the ultra filtration. So they say, you might ask yourself, what makes Fairlife special? Well, we flow our milk through special soft filters to concentrate the protein and calcium and filter out most of the sugar. The final product. Every bottle of Fairlife is as delicious as it can be while providing the nutrients you need. In our pursuit for better, we found a way to provide rich and creamy milk with less sugar, more protein, and more calcium. So this was interesting to me. So I don't know what their high standards are for these dairies that the dairies have to meet. I'm curious to hear more about the soft filters that reduce the sugar and concentrate the protein and calcium. In my mind, I'm wondering if it's similar to the ways that you create whey protein isolate, but this is also keeping the liquid. I don't know. I digress. I have questions, So in looking at the products, they actually have two different protein shakes. One is under Fairlife Nutrition Plan, and the other is under Core Power protein shakes. And both come in a chocolate flavor. So admittedly, I'm not sure which one Kelly likes. So if you're willing to go with me, we can take a look at both of them. So first, the Nutrition Plan one. It says smooth and creamy, 30 grams of protein, 2 grams of sugar. And then they say again, I'm reading directly from their site, Fairlife Nutrition Plan is a satisfying way to get the nutrition you're looking for with the taste you will enjoy. Elevate your wellness routine with 30 grams of high-quality protein, 2 grams of sugar, and 150 calories. So, okay, thanks. We will decide if this elevates our wellness routine. Let's look at the nutrition facts. So one serving is one bottle, 340 milliliters, 150 calories, 2.5 grams of total fat, of which it's 1.5 grams of saturated fat, 4 grams of total carbs, that's 1 gram of fiber, 2 grams of total sugar, and 30 grams of protein. On the micronutrients, there's a lot of calcium, iodine, zinc, and B12, a fair amount of phosphorus, a bit of vitamin D, vitamin A, magnesium, selenium, and chloride, and then a little iron and potassium. So far, it's certainly intriguing. It's giving us about 4 ounces of protein, which I like. And as long as we're adding fiber from pairing it with something else to be more of a complete meal or snack, maybe even adding some quality fat, so far so good, right? If we didn't add the fiber, you could potentially use this as more of like a post-workout protein option. But the question comes down to the ingredients, right? What is actually in there? So I pull up the ingredients on their website. It says filtered low-fat grade A milk contains less than 1% of alkalized cocoa, natural flavors, cellulose gel, cellulose gum, salt, carrageenan, lactase enzyme, monk fruit juice concentrate, esylsulfame potassium, also known as ACE-K, sucralose, stevia leaf extract, vitamin A palmitate, vitamin D3. Wow. Okay. So the only protein source is the milk. Same with the fat. The micronutrients are mostly coming from the milk, except for, we see some vitamins added. My flags are essentially, it's lots of additives and lots of sweeteners. So the natural flavors are kind of high up on the list, and we don't really know what those are. But even if we give that a pass, right? Cellulose gel, cellulose gum, carrageenan are all in there for texture. For some people, the carrageenan is a deal breaker, right? You can decide for you, if it is. Then on the sweeteners. So even excluding the natural flavors, we have 4 different sweeteners. So there's monk fruit juice concentrate, esylsulfame potassium, the ACE-K, sucralose, and stevia leaf extract. Now, for some people, the sucralose is a deal breaker. The ACE-K, the esylsulfame potassium, we talked about in more detail in our episode about healthier food swaps, whether they were worth it or a hard pass. So you can dig into that more. For now, suffice to say, for some people, the ACE-K is a deal breaker. Now, for me, I see that essentially what they're giving us is sweetened milk with a bunch of thickeners. Right? Now, they say it's possible because of their ultrafiltration process that it concentrates the protein and the calcium, filters out most of that sugar. Again, I'm not totally sure about their filtration process. I think for me, I'd almost rather have the naturally occurring sugar than all the sweeteners that they put in there. My other thought is I might opt for more of a protein powder and mix it with water, right? For me, milk doesn't love me so much, so I'm actually better with more of a whey protein isolate. Frankly, even whey protein concentrate is better for me and my body than milk itself or, dairy products. So I don't know. And then a lot of those too almost have fewer additives than this. The other thing that I noticed is that they added the lactase enzyme. So this can help the body break down the lactose, even though they say they've removed a lot of it. So I don't know. I think this one, it's really a personal choice. And depending on what your goals are, then you can sort of compare it between the different options, whether it's, a different protein shake or things like that. And then, it's this as opposed to what is really the question. So that was the Fairlife Nutrition Plan protein shake. Let's look really quick at the Core Power protein milkshake. So here, the marketing callouts, it says, champion your recovery. And then that same line, high quality protein to build muscle. So now we have another little blurb. It says, rise to a new level of recovery. After you work out, you can feel worn out. Core Power fights post-workout fatigue and dehydration with high-quality protein and electrolytes. Made from Fairlife ultra-filtered milk, Core Power is a delicious way to maximize your recovery and get the nutrition you need to power on. Then we have these 3 icons that say protein to build muscle, electrolytes to help hydrate, and replenish, repair, rebuild. So, okay, from all of this, they're marketing the Core Power Shake as your post-workout. Let's see how the nutrients and ingredients stack up. So this serving size is 14 ounces or 414 milliliters, so a little bigger than the other one. We have 170 calories, 4.5 grams of fat with 3 grams of saturated fat, 8 grams of carbs, 2 grams of fiber, 7 grams of sugar. That gets us to 9. So I don't know how they have 8 grams of carbs. Anyway, none of the sugar is added sugar, and then 26 grams of protein. On the micronutrients, they show only calcium, iron, and potassium. So compared to the other shake, it has less calcium, less iron, twice as much potassium. And it's interesting to me because they're marketing this one as having electrolytes, and electrolytes are minerals. So I would have expected to see some magnesium in here plus the potassium. I would have also expected to see some quality salts, right? Like maybe they added pink Himalayan sea salt. This one has 30 milligrams more sodium than the other one, but I don't even think salt is in the ingredients as I'm looking at it. So I don't know how they're doing it. It's curious to me, what they're showing in the nutrition facts and the ingredients. And then it's also interesting to me that it's less protein and more fiber than the other shake. So honestly, I'm a little confused on this one. The ingredients say filtered low-fat grade A milk, alkalized cocoa powder, then contains less than 1% of natural flavors, monk fruit juice extract, stevia leaf extract, carrageenan, cellulose gel, cellulose gum, azosulfame potassium, sucralose, lactase enzyme, vitamin A palmitate, and vitamin D3. So the ingredients are basically the same as the nutrition one. Very slight differences as far as like cocoa powder versus alkalized cocoa. And I mean, there's more of it in this one, that alkalized cocoa powder. There's more in this core power shake than there is in the nutrition shake. Honestly, for me, I think this one is a pass compared to the other one if I'm choosing between the offerings here. And then I think it's actually worth just pointing out, they also have one called Core Power Elite that's 42 grams of protein. And the nutrition facts on that one are a little closer to the first one. Ingredients are basically the same as both of the others. So, right, we're back to the alkalized cocoa. There's more of it because it's like before the less than 1% note in the ingredients. So all in on the Fairlife protein shakes, I think I'm in the camp of a high quality protein powder mixed with water that has fewer additives and sweeteners, but that's me. And you get to choose for you. And for Kelly, of these three, they're all kind of the same on the ingredients, which may be where these polarize people, right? Some might say definitely not on some of those ingredients, and some might say, this works for me, I'm going to choose it. Given all the additives and sweeteners, I would consider or think about how often you're having these versus other food options or options that don't have the sweeteners and emulsifiers. And then if I had to choose between these, I think I'd go with the first one, the nutrition shake, because I'm good with the 30 grams of protein. I can add fiber to make it a meal if I need. And it also seems to have the most on the micronutrient front. The 42 grams of protein in the one that they're calling Elite, I think would be my second choice. Or if I was a dude and needed like a meal's worth of protein versus less. And then of these, the core power protein, not the Elite, would be in third place for me. So I don't know. I'll say again, I think the great news is that everybody gets to choose for themselves. If this works for you, awesome. Kelly, I hope this was helpful for you. Thank you for submitting your nutrition nugget request. Well, as always, everybody, I'm your host, Jen Trepeck. Connect with me on Instagram or all social media. I'm at Jen Trepeck, JENNTREPECK. Website is asaladwithasideofries.com. Pick your platform, send a message. I love hearing your takeaways, your ideas, your questions. Like Kelly, share your ideas. This is also the easiest way to learn more about working with me as your health coach. And friends, if you're not already, join our membership by going to glow.fm/saladwithasideofries. This shows your support for this podcast, this community, and most importantly, your health. You'll get this week's recipe for the healthy banana s'mores bites. Well, friends, that's it for today's episode of Salad with a Side of Fries. Congratulations for making yourself and your health a priority. Thanks so much for joining us. Be sure to click subscribe or follow on your favorite podcast platform. Share us with a friend, and we'll be back next week. Always remember, you deserve it, and you are worth it. Happy healthy.